And we welcome you in on a soggy Saturday afternoon here at Veterans Park in Alabaster. It's Championship Saturday for the ACCC Division I State Softball Tournament at Veterans Park. A happy game day, a rather wet Saturday, as we'll try and get at least one game in today. What hopefully, at least for Southern Union, it's just one game today, as they are the home team as the number 2 seed. And the first pitch is outside for ball 1 to Taylor Hunt. So we are underway at Veterans Park. As in the circle is McKinley Turner for Southern Union, as they're in their blue tops, and the white tops and bottoms for Coastal Alabama South as the number 4 seed. As that pitch misses a little bit high, 3 balls and no strikes. Still some rain coming down here at Veterans Park as the 3-0 pitch is a strike call, 3 balls and 1 strike. We'll get a look at the full batting order as soon as we can here when it comes to Coastal Alabama South, as that's fouled off and loads the count full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. James Hardy with you, along with our folks here from the ACCC. And we certainly appreciate you for joining us all week long here on JockJive.com. As you can tell, certainly quite soggy out there, at least doing the best we can, at least to preserve our camera equipment so we can give you some championship coverage today, as that's downstairs for ball 4. A leadoff walk for Taylor Hunt, as that brings up Kaylin Parker. This is the first time these two teams have met this week here in Alabaster. Coastal Alabama South impressively won 3 games yesterday, including an 11-inning win over Calhoun in their first of 3. Then took down the top seed Wallace Hansfield before hanging on 4-3 against number 5 seed Patriots of Northwest Shoals. Awfully rough out there as far as trying to play in that wet weather. But our players and umpires braving the elements today, as Parker looks to keep some momentum going for Coastal Alabama South. There's a strike call in the inside corner. What could be an issue, not so much as far as maybe the footing with the turf field, but as far as the grip on the softball, especially for our pitchers today. Sydney Carpenter on deck. Bunt shown, and that's fouled off, and no balls and 2 strikes. 4 games this week so far. This is game number 5 for Coastal Alabama South, and just the 3rd game this week for Southern Union. Wind, and the pitch on the way. And that's a called strike 3. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night for Parker. Nice job by Turner. She was able to get a screwball in the inside corner, as that's going to bring up Sydney Carpenter, the catcher. Brianna Ryan, Charlotte Lottinger, and Abby Davis are in the middle 3rd of the order. First pitch misses for ball 1. So there's now 1 down here in the opening inning on Championship Saturday. Certainly far from ideal weather conditions, but these two teams trying to battle for an ACCC D1 state championship. Number 2 versus the number 4 seed, as that swung on and missed. Off-speed pitch makes it 1 ball and 1 strike to Carpenter. Bottom of the order, you have bottom 3rd of the order, as there's a base, at least a base hit That time for Coastal Alabama South as Sydney Carpenter able to get aboard to put 2 runners on base with just 1 out. So a good start for Coastal Alabama South. Is very interested to see how they're able to respond as far as having to play a marathon Friday yesterday. 3 competitive ball games. So far looking good coming out of the gate. Brianna Ryan, an opportunity to get the Coyotes on the board as that misses downstairs. A big reason that we're even playing right now is the field turf, as far as being able to absorb the moisture that it has really since late last night. Pitch on the way, and that's a strike call. So a couple of hits so far for Coastal, or check that, 1 hit and a walk to lead to their 2 base runners. Rain starts to pick up as that misses for ball 2. 2 balls and 1 strike. Over at second base, Hunt and Carpenter at first. Also some wind to speak of as the pitch on the way. Fouled off, and that'll even the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Toledano bats 7th, and that's followed by Malia Hale bats 8th, and then Grace Langston in the bottom of the order bats 9th. 2-strike pitch coming up. That's sprayed foul and out of play. The rain picks up here at Veterans Park. Tell you what, if this was a traditional grass and dirt surface, there would be no way that we'd be getting a game in right now. As we'll have time called, and this will be seeing a lot of, at least right now with the rain falling, time called for the batters, especially to get to improve their grip with their batting gloves. These 2 teams ready to play, though. And for Southern Union, they need to just win this game to take home the state championship. 2-strike pitch. Slipped out of the hands that time of Turner, as the count now goes full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Douglas in left, Gavin in center, and Williams in right for Southern Union. Lavorne at third, Martin the shortstop, Hunter at second, and Gibbons at first. Payoff. Popped up. Long run for someone as able to make the catch. And a smart play on the back end by Hunt as she's able to take advantage of Williams crashing into the fence and advance to third. That's a great play by both Williams to secure the catch against the heavy rainfall. And then once again on the back end, recognizing the play, Hunt advancing to third. So 2 down as that brings up Charlotte Lottinger. So Lottinger has played shortstop in every one of the games so far, as we got the umpire coming out, and let's see. And they'll appeal down as far as making sure that Hunt did tag up at second, and indeed did so. So everything okay with now runners at the corners and 2 outs. Arnold behind home plate today defensively for Southern Union. Wind and the pitch home. And that's taken downstairs for ball 1. See if we can get a look at the numbers so far this season as far as these Coastal Alabama batters are concerned. Should have stats updated through yesterday, as the Coyotes now 326 as a team. Laudinger 35 hits out of 126 at-bats. 1 homer and 26 RBIs. And what I'm glad, all the folks up here in the press box, we're high and dry right now. But a lot of the fans either under the umbrellas or huddled up under the overhang or tents right along field level. There's a strike call to make it now a 1-1 count. Taylor Hunt began the inning with a walk, then a strikeout looking for Parker. A single for Carpenter and a foul out to right for Ryan. Runner does not go. Nice pitch on the inside corner. 1-2. We should have a little bit of a window after this little line of rain comes through for some dry weather. Pitch, lined and foul. So still 1-2. Southern Union able to defeat Northwest Shoals 3-1 yesterday, and then on Thursday able to come up with a 6-0 victory over the number 6 seed Calhoun. Southern Union trying to get a 0 on the board here in the top of the first inning. Good curveball, but about a couple inches outside. That was a well-executed curveball from McKinley Turner. Just couldn't quite clip that outside corner. 2-2. Off the end of the bat as that goes out of play. So Laudinger fighting in there, as we'll have another 2-2 coming up. Coastal Alabama South lost their first game of the tournament on Thursday, right here on field number 5, and a 4-2 loss to number 5 seed Northwest Shoals. And as we mentioned, ran the table yesterday, winning 3 out of 3. Line foul. So again, we'll have another 2-strike pitch upcoming. Take a look at McKinley Turner's totals so far on the season. If I don't get it here, I'll get it to you for her next inning. Wind and the pitch upstairs. A healthy lead over at first base as Carpenter tried to draw the throw, as now that'll get us to a 3-2 scenario. Carpenter about to get a head start on the payoff pitch. Wind and pitch, and that's high and away for ball 4. So that'll load the bases with 2 down. So Carpenter now at second with Hunt at third. Pitching numbers for McKinley Turner, the freshman this year, 12-1 with 8 saves. This is her 9th start of the year and 26th appearance. 102 in the third innings pitched. 57 hits, 22 runs with just 11 earned. 23 walks compared to 128 strikeouts. Abby Davis lays off the rise ball. We'll take a look at Davis's numbers on the season. Now at 24 out of 61. She'll get ahead in the count, 2-0. Coastal Alabama South trying to force a winner-take-all championship. The weather after about 4:30 or 5 o'clock does not look very promising. As the pitch upstairs, and that'll make it 3-0. Turner, an up and down first inning so far, has yet to give up a run, but the 3-0 is in there for a strike. So both of these teams will have to battle the elements, at least throughout this championship Saturday. Here comes the 3-1. Popped up. Should get Southern Union out of the inning as the catch made by the second baseman Hunter to retire the side. So Coastal Alabama South, no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 3 left on base. As we go to the bottom of the first inning, Coastal Alabama South fails to score as Southern Union coming to bat here on JockJive.com. Southern Union comes to bat in the bottom of the first inning as Coastal Alabama South left the bases loaded in the top of the first inning. James Hardy with you as we'll take a look at the starting batting order for Southern Union as Edie Gavin leads off, followed by McKinley Turner, Morgan Martin in the number 3 spot, and then Jordan Douglas bats cleanup, Juliana Lavorne in the number 5 spot, followed by Tanea Gibbons batting 6th, Michaela Foster, Cassidy Arnold, and then Haley Williams in the bottom third of the order. They'll go up against Lauren Mounts, who's been quite effective so far this week for Coastal Alabama South. Her totals on the season in the circle: 121 2/3 innings pitched. This is her 23rd start and 31st appearance. A 17-5 record with 1 save. 107 hits allowed, 55 runs given up, with 53 of those earned. 32 walks and 106 strikeouts. This is a type of day that the team that scores first is going to have a huge advantage, as rain has fallen really all throughout the state pretty much the last 12 hours or so. As the count now at 1 ball and no strikes. Edie Gavin in center field for Southern Union. Take a look at her numbers after the 1-0. And that's a strike call. Team average of .333 for Southern Union and .420 for Gavin. 71 out of 169. Gets ahead in the count here. 2 balls and 1 strike. Southern Union scored all 3 of their runs yesterday in the 5th inning, as that's poked right back up the middle for a base hit. That's a good start for Southern Union as they get their first base runner aboard on a leadoff single. So it brings up McKinley Turner as she'll try and help herself offensively. 62 hits out of 167 at-bats with 4 homers and 45 RBIs. Let's see if the Bison decide to lay down a bunt here to try and get Gavin into scoring position. There's a strike call. No balls and 1 strike. Coastal Alabama South had a chance to get on the board first, but they left the bases loaded, and see if Southern Union can take advantage. There's a strike call, a couple of takes for Turner. As Lauren Mounts, one pitch away from her first strikeout of the day. That's a swing and a miss. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night for Turner. One down. So Turner goes down on strikes as Morgan Martin. An outstanding season coming into today. 19 homers, 60 RBIs, second in ACCC Division I in homers as she gets ahead in the count, 1 ball and no strikes. A couple of games played this week for Turner as she'll get ahead 2 balls and no strikes. Still a steady rain here at Veterans Park here in Alabaster. Runner goes, pitch outside as the throw goes into center field, but at least scoots quickly on the turf to Langston. So a stolen base for Southern Union. E.D. Gavin, a couple of stolen bases yesterday. Is now the count at 3 balls and no strikes. Gavin able to reach on a leadoff single to begin this half inning. So we'll have time called as the team's battling through now. Now the rain's starting to pick up once again. There's the bunt, and that's downstairs as Gavin takes advantage and goes down to third on the stolen base. So a 4-pitch walk and now a runner at first base to put runners at the corners with just 1 down. So Martin on a walk. As it appears also she was able to take advantage and go to second base as we'll have the umpires come out and let's see if they stop play here. And play will continue as they may have also called obstruction on the play. So advancing to second will be Morgan Martin. So now Southern Union a chance to pick up a couple of runs here as you have the leading home run hitter in the ACCC in Jordan Douglas with 20 homers and 54 RBIs, 56 out of 134 this year. She'll take a strike call. No balls and 1 strike. Pitch on the way, and that's upstairs. So 1 ball and 1 strike. Gavin singled, also stole a couple bases. She's at third, and Martin at second. As the breaking ball outside, 2 balls and 1 strike. Rain coming down. So far the story of this day all throughout Alabama as the teams are coming off the field. So we'll be in a rain delay here at Veterans Park as we're in the bottom of the first inning with 1 down and runners at second and third for Southern Union. So we have also lightning in the area, so it'll be a 30. So we're in a weather delay here at Veterans Park as we'll step aside with right now a no score bottom of the first, but runners at second and third for Southern Union as they'll have a 2-1 count on Jordan Douglas when we come back. resuming play here at Veterans Park as that pitch gets away to the backstop. And coming home to score will be Edie Gavin as that gets Southern Union on the board first. So Martin advances to third on the wild pitch, and you got a feel for both of these teams playing in some by far less than ideal weather conditions today. And that also gets to the backstop, as that'll also be ball four, as that's going to be an issue as far as both of these teams today. And that's trying to get a good grip on the softball, as now runners at the corners with one down and Southern Union on the board first. So Douglas walks. And that puts runners at the corners for Juliana Laverne. Laverne takes inside. So Southern Union able to get a run on the board as the rain's starting to lessen a little bit. Here comes the pitch on the way. That's outside, and they'll just concede the second base bag as Douglas able to steal second. Two balls and no strikes. That gets away to the backstop as racing home and able to score is Martin to make it 2-0. To third on the wild pitch is Douglas. So 3 balls and no strikes. One out as we'll have time called. And we'll have, looks like, a coaching visit coming up for Coastal Alabama South. A couple of wild pitches have led so far to both of the Bison runs here on a soggy Saturday to determine a champion for the ACCC Division I state softball tournament. Normally, as far as year after year after year, Wallace-Hansville would factor in as far as a championship round, but not this year. One of the first times in quite some time that the Lions from Hansville have not appeared in an ACCC softball championship. The ball has slipped out of Mounts' hands a couple of times that have led to a couple of runs as Laverne set to get her first at bat. Coastal Alabama South left the bases loaded in their opening at bat. Laverne 41 out of 143 so far this year with 5 homers and 26 RBIs as there's a strike call. Laverne got a complete game victory against Northwest Shoals yesterday. That's a good pitch on the outside corner. Got a lot of elements, of course, to deal with for both of these teams when it comes to the playing conditions. Swing and a miss. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night for Laverne. Able to bounce back with a strikeout, her second of the inning, as that brings up Tanea Gibbons with a runner at third. Gibbons with 32 RBIs on the year as she falls behind, no balls and 1 strike. So I had about a 5-minute delay or so to try and let's see if the rain would slacken up, as the count now at 1 ball and 1 strike. Jordan Douglas at third for Southern Union. Fly ball. See if that'll end the inning as the wind blows it toward the line. Has a good job by Abby Davis to catch up to it and make the grab. Side retired, but 2 runs score and just 1 hit thanks to a couple of wild pitches. No errors and 1 left on base. We're through 1. Championship Saturday here in Alabaster as Southern Union leads 2-0. One inning in the books on Championship Saturday. It's the number 2 seed and so far lone undefeated team here in Alabaster. The Southern Union Bison lead 2-0. James Hardy with you here on JockJive.com. Still a steady rain with about a 6-mile-per-hour breeze here at Veterans Park in Alabaster. Something also to consider, as we've mentioned, for Coastal Alabama South. They had to play 3 games yesterday, all tight contests, including an 11-inning Game 1 opener yesterday, as far as their 3 games that they were able to play. A 5-1 victory thanks to an 11th inning grand slam for Coastal Alabama South over the number 6 seed Calhoun Community College, as the first pitch, a strike call, no balls and 1 strike to Gracie Toledano. Toledano, so far this year, and she'll even the count now at 1 ball and 1 strike. 28 hits out of 104 at-bats, no homers, and 19 RBIs. Able to get ahead in the count here, 2 balls and 1 strike. For McKinley Turner, she gave up 1 hit, had a couple of walks, and struck out 1 in the first. That's popped up and goes out of play. So count evens now at 2 balls and 2 strikes. A matter to see, as far as the elements today, who's mentally the tougher team out there and can block out at least the playing conditions and try and get to the finish line here. A little bit high, and that goes full on the count now at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Pretty much it's going to be this type of condition all throughout the day today, all across the northern 2/3 of Alabama. Swing and a miss for the strikeout. So second strikeout for Turner. 1 down here in the top of the 2nd inning. Brings up Malia Hale. Take a look at Hale's numbers so far this year. After this first pitch, which she bunts foul. 26 out of 91, 286 her average with no homers and 18 RBIs. You can hear the wind in our crowd mic. It's starting to pick up and at least drive some of that rain from left field toward right field. Once again, our equipment and the folks here in the press box safely protected from the elements. That's exactly what the umpires are waiting for, is see if the wind dies down, and we'll be, appears, battling these type of conditions all throughout the day today. So it appears that the umpires are going to decide whether to take the teams off the field again. So our trio of umpires will at least stop play momentarily. There's 1 down here in the 2nd inning, as Southern Union has a 2-0 lead. Kinley Taylor now talks with our home plate umpire, and I think they're asking the players as far as the grip of the softball, or at least whether they want to continue, and it appears we are about to resume play. I thought we were about to resume play. Now our home plate umpire going to the 3rd base dugout. The rain has been picking up over the last few minutes, as it appears the team's about to once again come off the field. I'll step away from the mic here as we're in the top of the 2nd inning. 1 out, an 0-1 count on Malia Hale for Coastal Alabama South. As in the top of the 2nd inning again with 1 out, it is Southern Union, the number 2 seed, they lead the number 4 seed Coastal Alabama South Coyotes 2-0 as we're in a rain delay here in the top of the second inning. welcome you back in to Veterans Park here for the ACCC Division I State Softball Tournament Championship. We've been in a weather delay for about the last 20 minutes or so, as it appears the rain has slackened off considerably. Still, at least a noticeable wind to speak of, as we're at field number 5 at Veterans Park, the longtime host for the ACCC State Softball Championships. The wind has picked up to 13 miles per hour, and the temperature, it'll hover between 60 and 65 degrees for pretty much the rest of the day today. So we're about ready to get things back underway as Coastal Alabama South at the plate with now an 0-2 count on Malia Hale. Gracie Toledano struck out earlier to begin this second inning. McKinley Turner winds and deals, and that's a rise ball high. We've probably got about a window of another 2 to 2.5 hours or so to try and get in as much softball as we can. Southern Union needs just one win to take home some hardware as the foul ball keeps it at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Both of the Southern Union runs in their first at-bat scored on wild pitches. And so the Bison in good position right now, as this is about the driest we've been so far today. Bounced foul and out of play. Still 1 ball and 2 strikes. Grace Langston also due up here in the top of the second inning. Coastal Alabama South in the white tops and the blue tops and bottoms for Southern Union. 2-strike pitch. That's hit right side, and that'll drop down in front of Williams for a base hit. A Texas League single. Put a runner aboard for Coastal Alabama South, Malia Hale's first hit of the day. And also that's the second hit for Coastal Alabama South. Grace Langston, the center fielder, will take a rise ball upstairs. Numbers for Langston this year, 22 out of 79, no homers and 6 RBIs. Bunt offered at and missed, and the count evens at 1 ball and 1 strike. Game number 5 this week for Coastal Alabama South. Bunt laid down, and that goes foul. Just the 3rd game this week for Southern Union, as they got at least the first round bye as one of those top 2 seeds this week. Coastal Alabama South has had to fight all the way through the losers bracket so far after losing their tournament opener to Northwest Shoals on Thursday. 2-strike pitch. Upstairs on a rise ball. So count evens now at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Outfield shaded the opposite way has the pitch upstairs, so at least thanks to the field turf here for all of the fields at Veterans Park, we're able to at least have a shot to get this game in today. A payoff pitch on the way. Up and in for ball 4. So that's a great at-bat for Langston as she was able to fight from an 0-2 hole. And that sets up the top of the order in Taylor Hunt, who walked her first time up. That's the 3rd check, indeed the 3rd walk by McKinley Turner. Did not have that many walks coming in, only 27 walks coming into today as a strike call. Was able to strand the bases loaded in the first inning. And looking to leave at least a couple of runners aboard. Still 1 out, though, as a foul ball quickly makes it no balls and 2 strikes. I think this is the beginning of her window that we can get much of, and hopefully the rest of this ball game in. At least a lot better than how this game started weather condition-wise. Unfortunate as far as trying to determine a champion, but not a lot of window really the rest of the weekend as far as getting some even decent weather conditions in to determine a champion. Pitch inside makes it 1 ball and 2 strikes. We appreciate you for sticking with us here on JockJive.com. 1-2. Upstairs 2-2. So Turner, I beg your pardon, having at least some issues trying to finish off the last couple of Coyotes batters. Fly ball. Back goes Gavin as she's able to track it down at the track. Solid base running from Coastal Alabama South as both Langston and Hale move up an extra base on the flyout. So 2 down. As now runners at second and third. That includes the possible tying run at second base. Kaylin Parker, a strikeout victim, her last time up. Parker coming into today, 45 out of 147, 6 homers and 27 RBIs. Does have a homer so far in this Alabama Community College Conference Division I softball tournament. Here comes the pitch. And a rise ball high. First base is open. McKinley Turner trying to keep a 2-run advantage for her squad. The number 2 seed this week here in Alabaster. At the knees, a strike call. 1 ball and 1 strike. Much more ideal conditions right now, albeit I imagine still a slick surface, albeit a turf surface here in field number 5. Here's the pitch on the way, and that'll miss low. So a hitter's count for Parker. Take a look at Parker's journey so far this week here in Alabaster. It takes a tight strike that time, evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. And Alabaster has had a multi-hit game so far. Lined up, or at least on a couple hops, knocked down as the inning continues with the first run of the game for Coastal Alabama coming home to score. So that's an E4 to at least keep the inning alive. As now at first base is Parker, and Hale comes home to score. That is an unearned run for Turner. Langston also to third. And brings up Sydney Carpenter. Carpenter a single back in the first. Pitch on the way. Swing and a miss. Hunter not able to get a clean field that would have ended the inning for Southern Union. However, they're still on top. However, they need to get this final out to try and stay on top going into their second at bat. Turner rocks and fires, and that slides outside. Brianna Ryan on deck. Coastal Alabama South trying to force an if necessary game. As the pitch on the way. Popped up, and that's going to come our direction and right over us out of play. So 1 ball and 2 strikes. Pitch home. That's popped up, and that'll also go out of play. So a run on the board. Thanks to the first error of the ball game for Southern Union as Turner trying to close out this top of the second. Rise ball upstairs. Turner's tried to go with the rise ball a few times, but Coastal Alabama South, recognizing the scouting report, able to lay off. 2-2. upstairs as that gets away to the backstop, and able to score on the play on the wild pitch is Grace Langston. Kaylin Parker advances into second. Also, that is an unearned run to tie up the ball game. So now the count full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. As we'll have a fresh softball coming up for McKinley Turner. Still early on here in the championship round of the Alabama Community College Conference Division I softball tournament. Payoff. Popped up, and that'll go out of play. Coastal Alabama South battling in there like they have pretty much all throughout this week. Winners of 3 tight contests, including an 11-inning marathon in their first game yesterday against Calhoun. Payoff. And that'll hit Sydney Carpenter. So now 2 runners aboard as that keeps the inning alive. So all of the runs have come home with 2 down. Parker still at second as we're going to have, looks like, a coaching visit for Southern Union. Coach Brandon Cobb comes out. Southern Union scored all 3 of their runs in the 5th inning yesterday against Northwest Shoals, a 2-run double by Morgan Martin and a RBI double by Juliana Lavorne. Lavorne, 7 innings, 9 hits, 1 run. That was earned with a walk and 2 strikeouts yesterday against then, at least here in Alabaster, undefeated Northwest Shoals. That was a winner's bracket semifinal game as Coach Cobb checks out. And we're about to come up to another key 2-out scenario for Brianna Ryan. Ryan, so far today, a foul out to right her first time up. Turner comes home and has misfired with the rise ball rather. Just has not gotten the Coyotes batters to chase after that rise ball so far today. That's outside, 2 balls and no strikes. Turner, uncharacteristically, has been pitching around the strike zone so far today. And a wild pitch also has hit a batter. And that'll miss high. Also a touch outside, 3 balls and no strikes. Endangering of walking her 4th batter through 1 2/3 innings. Now we'll have Arnold come out to have a word with her pitcher. A pair of 2-out runs so far have scored for Coastal Alabama South. That's right down the middle, a strike call. Charlotte Lottinger on deck. Here's the pitch on the way. And that's on the inside corner as the count goes full of 3 balls and 2 strikes. Line and the pitch with the runners going, and that's sliced foul and out of play. Coastal Alabama South's been able to foul off several pitches to keep themselves alive here in the 2nd inning. As there's already been a hit, an error, a walk, and a hit by pitch so far. Payoff, once again fouled off. So just some sprinkles falling now here at Veterans Park. Wind has picked up over about the last 40 minutes or so. third payoff pitch coming up. That's off of Turner, and looks as if the inning is going to continue. Or they say an out on the play. Possibly one of the runners might have left early. And so a nice little question out on the field as it appears that the Southern Union defense about to come off the field, as we'll have at least an explanation given as far as Mallory Radwich is concerned, as far as that last play. But I believe one of the runners for Coastal Alabama South left early, and that will end the inning. But Coastal Alabama South scores a couple to tie it up as they get the benefit of just one hit with an error and one left on base. We go to the bottom of the second inning as the score is tied up now as Coastal Alabama 2 and Southern Union 2. An unfortunate break for Coastal Alabama South, as it appeared that Kaylin Parker got a little bit too early of a head start going on the pitch with a payoff pitch. And so, of course, in softball, at least the runners cannot leave prior to the ball being released by the pitcher. And just a split second at least kept the inning from continuing as we go to the bottom of the second inning now here on JockJive.com. The ACCC Division I Softball Championship here at Veterans Park in Alabaster. Michaela Foster, the designated player, gets her first at bat. Mounts back in the circle for the first time in about 40 minutes or so, gets a strike call. Comes back home, and again a strike. No balls and 2 strikes. Foster, Cassidy Arnold, and Haley Williams due up for Southern Union. 0-2. Swing and a miss. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night for Foster. That's 3 strikeouts now for Lauren Mounts, as there's one down here in the bottom of the second inning. Just getting things off the ground, really, after about a 35-minute weather delay. As Cassidy Arnold, the catcher, her first at bat. She'll take a strike call. So Mounts able to recover, and she's off to a hot start as she's gotten 4 strikes on her 4 pitches here in the second. Arnold just 59 at bats this year as a strike call, and that makes it now no balls and 2 strikes. Arnold a .288 batting average as she'll lay off the rise ball high and away. No homers, 9 RBIs. Outside corner called strike 3. 2 up and 2 down. 4 strikeouts now for Mounts as she's starting to get some rhythm out in the circle. Bottom of the order in Haley Williams. As she falls behind now, no balls and 1 strike. Williams to start in right field today. And takes another strike. No balls and 2 strikes. Williams, 40 hits out of 136 at-bats. No homers and 20 RBIs. Here comes the pitch, and that's taken on the rise ball. Mounts has been pretty consistent so far throughout her tournament appearances this week as she'll come home. And that's punched and into the glove of Lottinger, the shortstop, as that'll retire the side here in the second inning. Nothing doing for Southern Union as we're through 2. It's Southern Union 2 and Coastal Alabama 2, the championship game of the ACCC Division I softball tournament here on JockJive.com. We go to the top of the third inning as we're all knotted up at 2. Hopefully drying out for just long enough to get us through the rest of at least this championship round. It looks as if Charlotte Lottinger is coming up to the plate, even though Brianna Ryan was at the plate when apparently at least the runner left early in Caitlin Parker to end the second inning. Here's the pitch on the way, and that'll drop in there, a strike call. Lottinger, a walk her last time up. McKinley Turner trying to bounce back from a shaky second. Really a shaky start so far as a foul ball quickly makes it no balls and 2 strikes. Already 4 walks so far today, or check that, 3 walks in a hit batter for McKinley Turner. Has only given up a couple of unearned runs, however. Rise ball upstairs. Neither team really chasing after that rise ball. So it appears the pitchers are going to have to at least put the ball in a position where their defense is going to have to help them out. 1-2. Popped and almost to our location. Still 1 ball and 2 strikes. About a third of the way through this championship round as that's on the inside corner. Outstanding screwball for the strikeout. So 1 down as we go to Abby Davis, who popped up to second to end the first inning. So it could be a fight to the finish again for these 2 teams today as that rise ball upstairs. Coastal Alabama South was able to respond to a 2-run bottom of the first as a pop-up goes out of play beyond the front row stands. Coastal Alabama was able to score on a fielding error by Hunter at second base. And then a wild pitch by Turner allowed the tying run to score, and that was after a couple of wild pitches allowed Southern Union to get the first 2 runs of the ball game in the bottom of the first inning. 2 balls and 1 strike. Abby Davis, the right fielder, has started every game here in Alabaster. She'll swat away another foul ball. 2-ball and 2-strike count on the Coastal Alabama right fielder. Davis out of Tallahassee, Alabama, trying to get on base as the potential go-ahead run. It's hit off the bat handle, foul. A soggy and a cool afternoon as we come up to the middle part of May. It's been a rather stormy, almost 14 hours now across the state of Alabama. Certainly great weather for the plants, especially newly planted trees or bushes or any sort of shrubs. 2-2. Swing and a miss for the strikeout. Looked like a curveball that time from Turner. She's able to get her second strikeout of the inning. Gracie Toledano also a strikeout victim to begin the second inning. That's now 4 strikeouts for McKinley Turner. Comes home and popped up. Right side as Hunter camps under it and makes the grab. And an easy 1-2-3 inning for Turner. So nothing doing for Coastal Alabama in the third as we go to the bottom of the third as it remains all knotted up at 2 here on JockJive.com. Through 2.5 innings of play here at Veterans Park in Alabaster. Bottom of the third inning as the top of the order comes back up to the plate for Southern Union Community College out of Wadley. Edie, Gavin, McKinley Turner, and Morgan Martin get their second at-bats against Coastal Alabama pitcher Lauren Mounts. Gavin, so far the only hit and run scored for Southern Union as she gets ahead in the count here, 1 ball and no strikes. Gavin also stole a couple of bases in the first inning as she gets ahead in the count here, 2 balls and no strikes. Might be one of those games who can scratch out a run in the late innings as that misses downstairs, 3 balls and no strikes. Overcast day as a ground ball through the middle and a 3-0 pitch for a base hit. I like the confidence that time that Gavin had as far as looking for that pitch she wanted, and she drove that right past Lottinger into center field. Not often that you'll see someone swing away like that on a 3-0 count, but Gavin able to get rewarded with a leadoff single. Imagine with also the wind going toward right, not going to be a lot of opportunities for homers, so probably the small ball will get it done for both teams as the rise ball upstairs. Edie Gavin now with both hits today for Southern Union. See if she takes off. And she'll go. A bunt, good one in front of home plate as the throw to first base is not in time. Well executed bunt by McKinley Turner as she has her first hit as Edie Gavin now into scoring position. So now you got 2 capable home run hitters coming up. Morgan Martin, second in Division I in the ACCC. Third baseman Parker, even at third defensively, has a strike call. Morgan Martin, a run scored and a walk, her only time up. Grounds that one through the left side as Gavin gets the green light. The throw will come home as that's not in time. As on the back end, you have Martin going to second, and also to third is McKinley Turner. So Martin able to hit it through the 5-6 hole for an RBI single. As she advances to second on the play, Turner to third, so second and third with nobody down as Southern Union regains the lead. Jordan Douglas, the ACCC D1 home run leader, as she has a big swing and misses. So now Southern Union trying to get things cranked into gear, as recognizing that Mallory Radwich wants to come out and have a word with her defense. Southern Union needs to just win this ball game to take home a tournament championship, while Coastal Alabama South needs to win this game and also win an if necessary game to be able to take home the 2025 Alabama Community College Conference Division I Tournament Championship. Southern Union comes into today at 41-13 on the season, while Coastal Alabama South pretty good in the season overall themselves at 39-23 overall. 0-1 count. Curveball outside. Still nobody down, as back-to-back singles have gotten Southern Union on top. Here's the pitch. Off speed, just a little bit low. So you don't want to take too many chances, even with the wind blowing in on Douglas, if you're Mounts. Center fielder playing deep. In fact, all of the outfield playing deep. That's lifted, but foul. So 2 balls and 2 strikes. We'll get an update as far as the RBI total for Martin after this pitch. And a called strike 3. That's a clutch strikeout that time by Mounts, as she gets the first out of the inning on one of the toughest sluggers in the entire conference. Lavorne swings and fouls off the first pitch she sees. The RBI so far from Martin, her 61st of the season. Lavorne an opportunity for a couple more as she evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Screwball came inside. Starting to dry up a little bit here at Veterans Park. Popped up, and that's going to get well out of play. So now that Southern Union has the lead, they're trying to add at least a little bit of insurance, as we're past 1/3 of the way through. Ground ball. Runner goes from third, and that's going to get the run home, and everybody's safe. So a ground ball that usually would be a routine play. Not sure if Lottinger maybe had a little bit of trouble trying to get as far as that transition from the glove to the hand, as we'll call that certainly an RBI in any case to allow McKinley Turner, who is going on contact. So that now makes it 4-2 with a runner at first and second as a foul ball. Makes it no balls and 1 strike. Still just one out here in the bottom of the third. Call that a fielder's choice, and at least most importantly for Southern Union, they get a 2-run advantage. Tanea Gibbons to the plate. So Gibbons steps up. She has an RBI opportunity here. We'll update Lavorne's numbers after this pitch, as that's outside. Lavorne, her 27th RBI of the season. So now there's a possibility for Southern Union. They could get a big inning here, as that's hit foul to make it 1 ball and 2 strikes. And in a championship game, even as the number 2 seed, you want to build as big of a lead as you possibly can. Pitch. Hit in the right field. Should at least move the runner over, as the wind at least shifts that toward the line, as both runners able to advance. Davis able to make the catch, negotiate the win that time, but for Martin, she goes to third, and Lavorne into scoring position. So they check to see if one of the runners left early, and neither runner left too early. So the inning continues as Michaela Foster struck out her last time up. A chance for her to drive home a couple. Infield comes in as Foster pops it up. Wynn pushes it toward foul territory as the third baseman in Parker makes the grab to retire the side. But Southern Union retakes the lead. A couple of runs on 3 hits, no errors, and 2 left on bases. We're through 3. It's Southern Union 4 and Coastal Alabama South 2. Fielded it.
He fielded it, and her footwork, he got caught up in the, he got all crossed up in the.
Almost to the halfway point of Championship Saturday for Southern Union and Coastal Alabama South as we go to the top of the 4th inning, as Southern Union leads by a couple. We had at least a couple of rain delays earlier in this ball game, one of about 6 or 7 minutes, and the most recent about 40 minutes. As we go to the bottom, or at least to the top of the 4th inning and the bottom of the Coastal Alabama South order. Hale, Langston, then back to the top of the order in Taylor Hunt, as they'll go up against McKinley Turner. Drop ball low and away. Hale, a soft single to right, and was able to score 1 of the 2 runs in the second. McKinley Turner comes in leading the conference in ERAs. There's a fly ball that goes foul down the left field line. So 1 ball and 1 strike. Turner an ERA of 0.75 this season, and also leads the conference this season with 128 strikeouts. Already has 4 strikeouts today. Grounded right at the first baseman. That's about as easy as a play as you're going to get for Gibbons in wet conditions. 1 down. Bottom of the order, Grace Langston. A walk and a run scored in the second. Both of the runs that have scored against Turner have been unearned. 2 runs, a couple of hits, no errors, and 4 left on base so far. As there's a change-up, a strike call. So McKinley Turner's been able to bounce back over the last inning plus now. 5 in a row set down. A bunt shown and pulled back, a strike call. Trying to get to the finish line before another potential round of storms comes in. I think we may have just enough of a window to do that as the pitch is outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Or check that, 1 and 2. That's tapped. Fair ball at third as the throw across, a little low, but just in time as Lavorne able to get it across the diamond, 2 down. That was nearly close to Langston able to beat it out, but I think a good call, just about a quarter of a step difference over at first base. Taylor Hunt a walk and a fly out to center field. Pitch on the way. And there's a strike call. Looking ahead to the bottom of the 4th inning, we'll have 8, 9, and 1 for Southern Union. Here's the wind and the pitch. Lifted shallow right as coming in and able to make the basket catch is Williams. A 1-2-3 inning again for McKinley Turner as Coastal Alabama South goes down in order. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning as we're at the halfway point as it's still Southern Union 4 and Coastal Alabama South 2. Eight, 9, and 1 due up for Southern Union Community College as they lead 4-2. They have not trailed so far this week. There has been 1 tie in this ball game, but Southern Union able to score 2 in the bottom of the 3rd inning to retake the lead. James Hardy with you here on JockJive.com. Your home for ACCC Athletics is Cassidy Arnold, a strikeout victim. Her last time up as she takes a strike call. Haley Williams and Edie Gavin also scheduled for plate appearances. Ground ball knocked down by the 3rd baseman Parker as that goes into shallow left. So Arnold, her first hit of the day as she's 1 for 2. That's also hit number 5 as a team for Southern Union. Brings up Haley Williams, who lined out to short, as we'll have a pinch runner check in for Southern Union. So we're going to have our first substitution of the day as Caden Hornady will check in. So Arnold, I imagine, will be checking back in the top of the 5th inning. Williams line out to short her last time up as she lays off the rise ball. 1 ball and no strikes. Southern Union took a 2-0 lead after 1. And then once we got back from the 2nd rain delay, There's a ground ball over to the right side as a 3 unassisted putout will retire Williams, but moves Hornady into scoring position. So 1 down. Back to the top of the order as Edie Gavin so far 2 for 2. Couple singles, couple steals, and a couple of runs scored. Has a chance to give herself an RBI as she gets ahead in the count. Slides outside. 1-0. Reaches out and fouls it off to even the count. Trying to grind our way through again here on a soggy championship Saturday. I do see a little bit of a potential clearing right now off toward our south. Lined and past the shortstop Lottinger, as you had Hornady have to make sure that that line drive got through. So Edie Gavin's had a nice game so far, 3 for 3. And she's also able to advance to second base. Advanced to second on the throw, so now 2 runners into scoring position with 1 out for McKinley Turner, who had a bunt single and a run scored in the third. So Southern Union has a chance to build a pretty solid cushion as we're past the halfway point. Swing and a miss at a fastball. Turner struck out in the first inning. Has had back-to-back 3-up, 3-down innings as she lines that right between the legs of Mounts as 1 and make it 2 runs come home to score, and they now have Turner in a rundown, and Turner able to get back to first. That's a huge 2-run single for McKinley Turner, her second hit today, as both Hornady and Gavin come home to score. That's a big hit today as Mounts will check out, and we'll tell you who the new pitcher is for Coastal Alabama South following this timeout. As Southern Union now leads by a score of 6-2. The championship of the Alabama Community College Conference Division I softball tournament here in Alabaster. As already 2 have scored for Southern Union as they have a 6-2 advantage, and they have the power portion of their order at the plate as a swing and a miss for Morgan Martin. She had an RBI single that put Southern Union on top so far for good. Runner at first with 1 down. That's bounced foul as we do have a new pitcher for Coastal Alabama South. Coming in for Lauren Mounts is Kaylee Johnson. As Johnson with an 0-2 advantage. Johnson out of Sampson, Alabama. Ground ball, that's right at the third baseman, so they'll go to second for 1, and that'll be all. The combo of Parker to Hunt for the 5-4 fielder's choice, as that'll retire Turner for the second out of the inning. Brings up Jordan Douglas as she struck out her last time up. Takes the off-speed pitch, a strike call. Also, for Douglas, walked in the first. That's hit well, and that'll hook foul and out of play. No balls and 2 strikes. Looking ahead to the 5th inning, it'll be 2, 3, and 4 for Coastal Alabama South as they are in a 4-run hole here in the championship as they need to win this game and a necessary game to win this ACCC Division I tournament. Swing and a miss. They'll have to throw down to first and do so for the strikeout. So that'll do it, as that's the second time Douglas has struck out. 2 runs, however, on 3 hits for Southern Union with no errors and a runner left on base. As we're through 4 at Southern Union 6 and Coastal Alabama South 2. We're through 4 innings to play here at Veterans Park in Alabaster for Championship Saturday. Southern Union, who's gone 2-0 so far this week, the number 2 seed in this week's ACCC Division I tournament. They lead by 4 as the 2, 3, and 4 batters go up against McKinley Turner. Turner, a back-to-back 1, 2, 3 innings so far, as she gets a strike call. Our game was supposed to start at noon, but did not get started until 1:30 today. As Turner rocks and fires, and that comes up and in. Parker, a strikeout looking in the first, and then reached on an E4 that got the first of 2 runs across. And looks as if we have Brandon Cobb that comes out from the third base dugout for Southern Union. Brought out the lineup card. Not sure if there's a roster or at least a substitution issue or not. I think we're about to resume play here. In fact, indeed, just Coach Cobb making sure that the re-entry took place. So Cassidy Arnold did come back into the ball game, and that's been officially taken care of as that 1-1 is outside. Cassidy Arnold was pinch run for by Caden Hornady. 2-1 pitch. That's line down the line, but that'll go foul. After a couple of shaky innings for McKinley Turner, she's had a couple of outstanding innings, including a couple of strikeouts in the third. 1 pitch away from another strikeout here. That's fouled off. Coastal Alabama South able to outlast Calhoun, Wallace, Hanceville, as well as Northwest Shoals yesterday. Drop ball laid off as that'll load the count full. Sydney Carpenter and Brianna Ryan also scheduled to come to the plate. Here comes a payoff pitch. Grounded through the legs of the third baseman Lavorne as that gets into left field. That's the second error of the ball game defensively for Southern Union, as that'll get the leadoff batter aboard for Coastal Alabama South. Ground ball, a hard one, albeit playable, that went right through the legs of Lavorne at third. So that brings up Sidney Carpenter, who has singled and also been hit by a pitch. See if Southern Union can shake off that fielding miscue as that's popped up and out of play. Four unanswered runs so far for Southern Union over their past two at-bats. As Turner ready, an 0-1. Popped up, and that should and does go out of play. 2 runs on a couple of hits, no errors, and 4 left on base through the first 4 at-bats for Coastal Alabama South. Rise ball upstairs. 6 runs, 7 hits, 2 errors, and 4 left on base for Southern Union through their first 4 at-bats. 1-2 pitch on the way. Off the end of the bat as that also goes out of play. Had sloppy conditions early as both of the runs that, at least the first 2 runs for both teams, came either thanks to wild pitches or a fielding error. 2 wild pitches led to 2 Southern Union runs in their first at-bat, and then a fielding error and a wild pitch led to both of Coastal Alabama South's runs. Those came in the second. Rise ball laid off to even the count. Rise ball hasn't really been that effective so far for McKinley Turner today. She'll come with the 2-2. Popped up. Should be an easy play, and it is for Martin, 1 down. So remaining at first base is Kaylin Parker as Brianna Ryan has fouled out to right and was at the plate when Parker got a bit of an early head start and was called for leaving early at second to end the second. That was right down the middle and a foul ball back our way. So Ryan had a big RBI double in the first yesterday against Northwest Shoals as she'll quickly fall behind, no balls and 2 strikes. Ryan was 1 for 2, reached base 3 times, and also scored a run in addition to her RBI against Northwest Shoals. That's hit right to the center fielder, Gavin, 2 down. So staying at first is Parker. That brings up Charlotte Lottinger, who's walked and struck out looking. Looking ahead to the bottom of the 5th inning, we'll have the 5, 6, and 7 batters for Southern Union, inching toward at least a championship trophy right now for Southern Union as that's hit into left field. Slowing down and making the catch is Douglas, though, to retire the side. So the leadoff error doesn't hurt. No runs, no hits in error, and 1 left on base. As we go to the bottom of the 5th inning, it's still Southern Union 6 and Coastal Alabama South 2. A comfortable 6-2 lead for Southern Union as they come to plate here in the bottom of the 5th inning with Juliana Lavorne, who drove in a run on a fielder's choice her last time up in the 3rd. So Southern Union, thanks to their 2 runs in the 3rd and 4th, have been able to assert control as we come into the back end of this championship game. We'll take a look at Kaylee Johnson's numbers coming in at 2 today as she falls behind 1 ball and no strikes. Johnson, 10 starts this year as there's a foul ball, 19 appearances now. She has a 3-4 record with 1 save in 53 innings, 61 hits, 46 runs, 38 earned with 26 walks and 34 strikeouts. 1-hop grounder over to 3rd and the toss across the diamond by Parker in time. Kaylin Parker showed the glove and the arm work so far at the hot corner this week as there's 1 down for Tanea Gibbons. Gibbons has had a target as far as Abby Davis defensively, as Davis has recorded both of the outs on Gibbons today. A pair of flyouts, 1 in the 1st to right and the other in the 3rd to right. Johnson downstairs for ball 1. Southern Union has been tied once as Gibbons gets hit around the shoulder as she'll reach first base with 1 down. So that rise ball came up and in as that'll put a Bison run over at first base. First hit by pitch today is we'll have Coach Cobb come over to our home plate umpire. I think everything should be okay as far as Gibbons at first base. To the plate goes Michaela Foster. She struck out to lead off the 2nd and ended the 3rd on a pop-up to 3rd. Here comes the wind in the pitch, and that's upstairs on the rise ball. So Foster getting the start today as the designated player. Change up a strike call, evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. A rare time as far as a championship round that we do not see Wallace Hansville playing for some championship hardware. Coastal Alabama South able to defeat them by 2 as there's a breaking ball swung on and missed. Fell out of the strike zone once it got to the front portion of the strike zone. So Kaylee Johnson, some solid activity out of the bullpen. Rise ball high and away. You can hear the wind in the crowd mic as it's picked up to over 10 miles per hour as there's a tapper foul. Check the wind conditions here. So last check at 13 and still around that at 12 miles per hour. And this one, the few times today, actually really the only time we've had an extended dry period here in Alabaster. That's hit well into right center field as that has a chance and gone. So Michaela Foster able to rip a 2-run homer into right center field. And we'll update her numbers as she was able to just get the sweet part of the bat on it. Her first homer of the season in RBIs number 11 and 12. And that is some great timing to get your first homer of the season. So that was right into a stiff breeze as that drives home a couple. And that'll add a couple as well to the Southern Union lead, now up 8-2. Tanea Gibbons also scores on the homer as that clears the bases for Cassidy Arnold. Arnold takes upstairs. So now Southern Union in the neighborhood of potentially getting a run rule victory. As the pitch by Johnson, that's skied, and the wind will blow that out of play. That's an impressive homer by Foster, because that is right into the teeth of a 12-mile-per-hour breeze blowing in. Looks as if there wasn't much effort as far as getting that swing right in the middle of the strike zone for Foster. She was able to scald that into right center. Drop ball laid off, as that'll make it now 2 balls and 1 strike. So Southern Union has now built what seems like a close to insurmountable margin, as that misses up and in. So 3 balls and 1 strike. On deck is Haley Williams. Arnold singled her last time up. Pitch on the way. And that's hit into left field, as that'll be caught as Hale comes in to make the grab. So 2 down with nobody aboard as we go to the bottom of the order for Haley Williams. Williams lined out to short in the second and grounded out to first in the fourth. Here's the pitch on the way, as that'll be taken for a ball. E.D. Gavin on deck. Johnson just trying to get out of this bottom of the 5th inning. The 3rd consecutive inning that Southern Union has scored 2 in an inning, as that strike call evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Rise ball goes upstairs. So that makes it 2 balls and 1 strike. 6th inning, we'll have the 6, 7, and 8 batters for Coastal Alabama South. That's assuming that Southern Union doesn't score a couple more runs, as the count now at 3 balls and 1 strike. 2 more runs for the Bison, and they can end this ball game. However, 2 outs right now and nobody on base, as the pitch on the way is upstairs for ball 4. So Southern Union clearly has the momentum since the 3rd inning, as a runner on base. And we're back to the top of the order in E.D. Gavin, who has recorded 3 singles and 3 runs scored. Gavin taps that foul. So she's been seeing the ball very well so far. Single in the 1st, single in the 3rd, and single in the 4th for the Southern Union center fielder. Also a couple of steals in the opening inning.
Don't put the name on it.
Johnson comes home. Lined and right at the shortstop, as Lottinger there to retire the side. However, 2 more runs scored for Southern Union on just 1 hit. No errors and 1 left on bases. We're through 5. It's Southern Union on top, 8-2 here in the championship round of the ACCC Division I tournament. We're through 5 innings of play here at Veterans Park in Alabaster. Field number 5 for the Alabama Community College Conference Division I Tournament Championship. And Southern Union, that's won both of their games so far this week. They're in firm control right now, up by 6 as we go to the top of the 6th. 6, 7, and 8 due up for the Coyotes of Coastal Alabama South as Abby Davis, Gracie Toledano, and Malia Hale due up. As they'll have to try and get some sort of momentum going for the Coyotes if they want to get back in this ball game. There's a line drive, and that's into left field, and a good start for Coastal Alabama on a first pitch single. Just the third hit today for Coastal Alabama South, and the first for Abby Davis. First hit since the second inning for Coastal Alabama South, as that brings up the spot for Gracie Toledano as she gets her third at bat, a strikeout to begin the second, and then a pop up to second to end the third. Kinley Turner, fly ball. Gavin ranges over and makes the grab. So one down. Runner still at first base. Malia Hale, a single and a run scored in the second, and then grounded out to first to open up the fourth. Two runs in each of the past 3 at-bats for Southern Union as another first pitch swing and a foul ball. Coastal Alabama South 39 and 23 so far on the season coming into today. This is the 5th time that these two teams have met this year. Off the end of the bat into center, as it'll be again a catch for Gavin. So 2 down as Grace Langston, I beg your pardon, to the plate, who has walked and scored and grounded out to third. It appears we're going to have at least a substitution check in for Coastal Alabama South. I believe we'll have a pinch hitter, and indeed we will have a pinch hitter check in. Caroline Mathis to the plate. We'll take a look at what Mathis has done so far this season. He's played in 43 games, 92 at-bats, 25 at 92 with 4 homers and 23 RBIs. There's the fastball upstairs for a ball. So Mathis trying to keep this inning alive. Pitch on the way. That evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Mathis 5 doubles and a triple so far this year. Pitch on the way. That's a strike call. Looked like a changeup. That'll make it 1 ball and 2 strikes. Looking ahead to the bottom of the 6th inning, what could be the final at bat for Southern Union this week? It'll be 2, 3, and 4 due up as the pitch just outside. So 2 balls and 2 strikes on the pinch hitter Mathis. Southern Union tied it up after 2. Fly ball. And right as settling under it and making the catch is Williams to retire the side. A leadoff hit does no damage as Coastal Alabama South leaves 1 on base. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Remains Southern Union 8 and Coastal Alabama South 2. we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. What appears to be the final at bat of this ball game for Southern Union, unless Coastal Alabama South can make a major comeback in the 7th inning, as McKinley Turner, Morgan Martin, and Jordan Douglas will step up to the plate for Southern Union. Able to assert control through the middle innings, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, with 2 runs in each of those frames. McKinley Turner, a huge 2-run single in the 4th as she swats the first pitch away for strike 1. So Turner 2 for 3 so far with a run scored and a couple of RBIs. So she's had a nice game on both ends. She hits that into left center field, and that'll drop down for a base hit. So now Southern Union, and they're putting themselves in position. A long ball would end this ball game. And you get into a couple of sluggers in the Southern Union lineup that have nearly combined for 40 homers this year. So to the plate comes Morgan Martin as she has walked and scored, singled and driven home a run, and also grounded into a fielder's choice. There's a grounder and foul wide at the third base bag. So that's hit number 9 thanks to McKinley Turner's single to left. McKinley Turner also could be in line for a complete game. As she's at first as that pitch gets to the backstop. Got by the catcher that time. And that'll be a wild pitch to allow Turner to get into scoring position. 1 ball and 1 strike. As Martin now another RBI opportunity for her. Bunt offered at and missed. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Southern Union needs just 2 more runs or 3 more outs to take some hardware back to Wadley. Fly ball hit into left field as that'll be caught shy of the track by Hale. 1 down as remaining at second base is McKinley Turner. Jordan Douglas a walk and a couple of strikeouts so far today. Kaylee Johnson trying to get the final couple of outs for Southern Union. That's off the bat handle, and that'll be caught in fair territory by Parker. 2 down. Juliana Lavorne 0 for 3 with an RBI as she'll try and drive home Turner from second base. Johnson pitches, and that floats in there, a strike call. A strikeout in the first, RBI fielder's choice in the third, and a ground out to third to begin the 5th. Fly ball should end the inning, as that's dropped in foul territory, so the inning will continue. Makes it no balls and 2 strikes. Laudinger was in position despite the wind, but saw it go off her glove, as we'll have at least 1 more pitch this half inning. Looking ahead to the top of the 7th inning, top third of the Coastal Alabama order in Hunt, Parker, and Carpenter. They need 6 runs at the minimum, however. That's outside. That's if Southern Union does not add to their lead. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Swatted away, foul. Been a competitive week, a great week of games since we started on Thursday. That's tapped foul past the third base bag. They'll have the trophy presentation as well as the all-tournament team and the tournament's most valuable player. Another 2-strike pitch coming up for Kaylee Johnson. That'll drop low. Makes it 2-2. Tanea Gibbons on deck. Johnson ready, comes home. And that drops in the dirt. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Of course, not real dirt out there as it's a turf field, but at least the dirt color around home plate in the infield. Payoff pitch. Fly ball hit into right center field as that'll be caught in right field by Abby Davis to retire the side. A leadoff single left at second base for Southern Union as we go to the 7th inning as 3 more outs separates Southern Union from an ACCC championship here in Alabaster as they lead 8-2. We come to the final inning of regulation here in Alabaster for tournament week at the ACCC Division I softball tournament. Top third of the order for Coastal Alabama South is Taylor Hunt along with Kaylin Parker and Sydney Carpenter. We'll try and get something going for Coastal Alabama South as the Coyotes need 6 to tie and 7 to take the lead. There's been 1 tie, and the only team that has led has been Southern Union so far today. Taylor Hunt a walk in the first and then flied out to center in the second and flied out to right to end the fourth. McKinley Turner has gone the distance so far as she gets a strike call. She had a rough start to her championship round with three walks and a hit batter through her first 2 innings. That's lined into center field, but that'll be, I think, caught and is for the first out of the inning, or is it? No, they'll say it was indeed caught in center field for out number 1. So Gavin just able to secure the first out of the inning. As Kaylin Parker still in search of her first hit as she's reached on a couple of errors and also has struck out. Rise ball upstairs. So Turner, since the second inning, has allowed just 1 hit and a couple of base runners. Has not walked or hit a batter since then and struck out a couple. There's a swing and a foul ball. That'll even the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Southern Union with a couple of more outs would improve to 42-13 on the season. And they'll continue in the NJCAA district tournament as the 1-1 upstairs as they'll get the automatic berth from the Alabama Community College Conference. Coastal Alabama South would drop to 39-24. That's hit into left center field. As that has a chance, and that'll be caught at the warning track in left field by Douglas. As there's now 2 down here in the top of the 7th inning. So now the Coyotes down to their final out as Sydney Carpenter is singled in the first, hit by a pitch in the second, and then popped up to short her last time up in the 5th. As it appears that Brandon Cobb comes out, as we're going to have a new pitcher, it appears, for. I thought we might have had a new pitcher, but I think of course, McKinley Turner's going to have a chance to try and close things out here. And also, we'll have Sidney Carpenter come to the plate. A little powwow as far as maybe the lineup for both teams. Carpenter back to the plate, trying to keep this game alive for Coastal Alabama South. Swing and a miss. A big rip that time for Carpenter. Coastal Alabama South tied it up in the second, but Southern Union has scored 6 unanswered. That came after the rain delay as the fastball upstairs. The post-game ceremonies following the completion of this ball game. Swing and a miss is now Coastal South down to their final strike. Eight runs on 9 hits with a couple of errors for Southern Union and 5 left on base. 1-2. Popped up. Right side as Hunter into foul territory. Makes the grab as Southern Union able to sweep through 3 games as they're able to win the ACCC Division I tournament.
Ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you please remain for the
no runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left on base for Coastal Alabama South as they fall to 39-24 on the season, and Southern Union improves to 42-13 on the season. We'll step aside as we certainly thank all of our ACCC crew, Robert Williamson, as well as our JockJive crew this week in Alabaster, as the post-game trophy presentation and award ceremony coming up here at Veterans Park. As certainly we appreciate all of you for joining us here on JockJive.com. James Hardy wishing you a good Saturday afternoon and a happy Mother's Day weekend here on JockJive.com.
Go ahead.
You ready?
Yeah.
Morgan Martin.
This is what? This is Southern Union.
Southern Union.
Hold on. Morgan Martin. Okay.
Juliana LeBron. It's all it on the bottom. Juliana LeBron.
All right.
Jordan Douglas. MVP McKinley Turner. Yep.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Hey, don't forget picture.
What about the Coastal?
Johnson.
Haley Johnson. No, Kaylee Johnson.
All right, hold on. Who?
Brianna Ryan.
Brianna Ryan. Okay.
Last one. Caitlin Parker.
Caitlin.
Yep. That's your three, right? You're good.
Caitlin Parker. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thanks.
You want to do it? I can do it. Go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Alabama Community College Conference
I'm not done. You're good.
and Commissioner Dean Myrick, we congratulate all teams, coaches, and student athletes on a great 2025 season and tournament. A lot of hard work, time, and effort by all enabled us to crown a champion today. We sincerely thank the City of Alabaster, Tim Ham, Morgan Lawley, staff, and volunteers for serving as gracious hosts and providing a great environment for our teams and fans. Let's give everyone a round of applause. At this time, we now present the all-tournament team. From Steed State, Allie Graydon. From Calhoun, Bronwyn Borden. From Wallace State, Charlie Kaiser. From Wallace State, Brandy Phillips. From Northwest Shoals, Aspen Teague. From Northwest Shoals, Braden Mitchell. From Southern Union, Morgan Martin. From Southern Union, Juliana Lavorne. From Southern Union, Jordan Douglas. From Coastal South, Kaylee Johnson. From Coastal South, Brianna Ryan. From Coastal South, Kaylin Parker. The tournament most outstanding player from Southern Union, McKinley Turner. At this time, we would like to recognize the Coyotes from Coastal Alabama South on their 2025 ACCC runner-up finish and a great season. Now to present the 2025 ACCC Championship Trophy to the Bison of Southern Union. Congratulations on a great season. The Bison will advance to the NJCAA Division I National Championship, May 19th through 24th at Pacific Avenue Athletic Complex in Yuma, Arizona. Congratulations again to all the teams, coaches, and student athletes on a great season. We thank everyone for supporting your teams and have safe travels.